Nana boys, what's going on? This is Yorkie here, and this is one you've been waiting for a long time. I've been requested to do this video for forever. We're finally sitting down and doing it. Today, we're going to sit down, we're going to talk about the sliders that I use in career mode and how I tweak them. The reason why I haven't just done a this is the best sliders video is because I've literally changed my sliders near enough every other episode since we started recording FIFA content on the channel this year. So with that in hand, I'm going to go through today actually and show you how I go about changing the sliders to impact my gameplay and how I kind of get the best out of it. Hopefully this helps you guys get a little bit better gameplay because a lot of you guys have said you enjoy the gameplay that I seem to get. So let's go through it and see what the sliders look like and see the changes that I make in order to make it more difficult. Here we are on the slider screen, and these are the sliders we use. So basically I have a base stock set of sliders that I use for every game. These are the ones that don't change on a game-by-game basis. They have been tweaked over time depending on how I feel with the gameplay, but these ones normally stay very much the same. And we have our sprint speed at 40, acceleration at 52. That's the same for both user and AI. The only difference with shot error is mine's higher and theirs is lower. Sometimes I will pump this up for me if I feel like I'm getting too many shots on target. It's too easy to score. That's maybe when I'll tweak that a little bit. And if the AI are just scoring God goals all the time, I'll tweak theirs. So, you know, but it does tend to stay this way a lot. The pass error 56 for both. I'm just trying to force more errors in the game because FIFA is a game that doesn't tend to have too many errors in it. So we're just trying to force a few more errors, see a few more turnovers because there isn't massive turnovers when you're playing FIFA. Pass speed down to 46 for both. Again, this is just purely to try and slow the game down a little bit so it doesn't feel super quick and arcadey in the way that the play is built up. With the faster passing, you could just ping the ball back and forth very easy, move the ball up the pitch very quickly, and that's not very realistic. Injury frequency. I have played with this all year long. It's at 69 because it's a magic number at the minute, but it has been as high as 95 at one point. Literally at the start of FIFA, I was getting no injuries, so it went up to 95, but 69 seems to be good at the minute. The severity is probably the one that changes the most. I'm happy with the frequency at the minute, but the severity will change depending on what kind of injuries I seem to be getting. 49 seems to be good at the minute. It's majority of like 5-day injuries. It's quite common that players will get tweaks and stuff. I wish we saw a few more 1 week and 2 week injuries, but that doesn't seem to be something that happens in FIFA. And you won't see too many 3-month or 7-month injuries. You'll just get a lot more niggly injuries where you'll miss a player for 1 or 2 games, which is where I want it to be. That's exactly where I want it to be. But if you notice you're never getting any long-term injuries, maybe put that up a little bit. The goalkeepers I've made a little bit better. Again, this is something I would look at over time. We're finding a little patch at the minute in the gameplay. But goalkeepers for me are super strong. So this might change in the future for me because they seem to be really strong at the minute, so I might make them back down to 50. I don't know, I've not decided on that yet, but this is something you guys can monitor. Again, changing the sliders isn't an exact science, and it is something that I will continue to tweak on a game-by-game basis. Now you'll notice all this stuff is the same. It's the same for the AI, and I'm going to show you why it's the same right now and what I do. I'm so comfortable and used to the power bar at 50 and how quickly it ramps up, so I'm going to keep it that way, but you guys might want it to be quicker or slower. That's all dependent on you. And first touch control is 58 for us, 55 for the AI. Again, not an exact science. I do change this one sometimes on a game-to-game basis, depending who I'm playing against, but this is kind of the base on what I use. I don't really ever change my touch control. It's really just tweaking the AI sliders game by game than it is tweaking mine. Now, the reason we tweak them is to get an experience that is different on a game by game basis depending who I'm playing against. So let's say I'm playing Man City or Liverpool. The biggest thing here that I will do is I'm playing Liverpool. They're going to mark me tighter. They're trying to win the ball back. The run frequency, they're going to make more runs. The line height is going to become higher. Maybe not too high. This is probably something I would do if I'm playing against Liverpool. I would have the line length longer, but let's say it's Man City. I'm going to go a lot more compact in the middle of the park. I am going to push the fullbacks up. So again, this is game by game what I will do before the start of every match. Say this was Liverpool, this is probably what I'd be looking at. Or Man City. Again, just try and base it off how that team plays in real life. I'll take one example. We recently played Inter in the Dortmund series. Now, Inter still mark fairly tightly, but they are going to drop off a little bit. The run frequency I had, I think, at 52, but their line height was way deeper. I made them play very deep, very compact. Still had the fullbacks fairly high because they use wing backs, so they're going to be fairly high, but I made Inter very compact, and we struggled so much to break them down, but they were still dangerous on the counter. I'm playing someone like Everton or a Burnley, you know, someone who sits deep. If you judge that team sits deep and you want them to be a deep threat, I would stand off a little bit more with the marking. The run frequency I would probably keep at 50. The fullbacks I would drop back. They're not going to push them as high forward. And this is probably something I would do. And what this has enabled me to achieve in doing the career mode series is to have something that is different game by game, that feels more authentic, that teams play very differently. Because in FIFA, they play a tiny bit differently, but all sides will have patches in a match where they pass the ball like Barcelona. All sides will have patches in a match where they're unplayable. And I didn't feel like sides felt overly different. Yes, you knew when you were playing against one of the big sides, and the press really was a little bit annoying sometimes. I felt my problem is when I was playing against Liverpool or Man City, I was finding them easier to beat because once I beat their press, they were super wide open. But making them more narrow made them far more difficult to deal with. You know, line length. Man City is going to go up. Everton is going to go down. So that's literally what I do game by game. If you don't want to go in and do this game by game, then the base slider set is pretty decent that I'm using on Legendary. Between 3 and 4 minute matches, you're going to see better results. You're going to see it being more realistic. One thing I've noticed that people do a lot is they put the marking up and they go, right, I'm going to put the marking up because that's going to make my life more difficult because they'll be tighter on my player. Problem with this is if you're a quick passer and you can move the ball quickly, which I tend to be able to do on a counter, it's going to leave more gaps wide open because players are going to be super tight to the players on the pitch. Once you break that, there are going to be tons of gaps compared to when you have the marking down. So that's something to look out for if you're only going to tweak minor bits of these sliders. I would urge you guys to try it. Just try it game by game, see how you feel. Sometimes it works really well, sometimes it doesn't, but I've found this is the best way for me to have fun gameplay on FIFA this year. Now, I want to keep this one fairly short and sweet. I could go into so much more detail with it and min-maxing on how I do it, but you guys probably aren't going to play that way, so I don't want to do that. I want to give you a base understanding of how I'm tweaking the sliders to get the gameplay that I'm getting and the difficulty that I'm getting still playing on Legendary. That's going to be it for me. Again, new around here, smash subscribe. I appreciate you all. I hope the video helped you a little bit. Let me know your findings down below in the comments on how you tweak your sliders, because that might be helpful to somebody else and helpful to me. It might be something I implement in more videos in the career mode. But much love for me. Stay safe. Take care. Appreciate you all, lads. And I will see you for the next career mode episode.